I am so happy today to have this special guest, Paulette Rees-Denis. She is about movement, momentum, magic. You're gonna love her. She's a lifestyle coach for creative women. She's a dancer. She's a multi-passionate woman. She's an author of 4 books and a podcast host for Heart and Hustle. So
Mhm.
she's like a lot of things and more than what I said. So welcome, Paulette.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, and it's so nice to see you again.
Yes, I love being on your podcast, and now you are here on
I
mine.
know, this is great. This is great. I love our conversations.
Awesome. So let's start by looking at what is a multi-passionate woman, because I think a lot of times women that are especially business owners, they think that this is something to overcome, like there's something wrong with them that they are in
No,
too
no,
many
no, no,
directions.
no, no.
Right. So you have an approach to this as in like you can be everything.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, I love life. I love learning. I love expanding. I love experimenting. I definitely have things, ideas that are strong for me. So being multi-passionate, I love writing. I love dance. I'm a musician. I'm an entrepreneur. And you can be all those things. And I may have said this to you before, but I'll never forget my dad said to me once, when are you going to stop and do one thing? And I'm like, not going to happen.
Never, never gonna happen.
I love life. I love learning all this stuff. However, there does come a time when you need a little bit more focus to make certain things happen, to make maybe a certain business happen, or a certain passion in your life that you want to really bring into fruition where you need to focus, right? So if you spread yourself too thin, then those things may not happen. So you can still have lots of irons in the fire. You can still have all of these dreams and desires, but sometimes you have to prioritize.
So how were you able to know which thing to focus on so you can create the wealth and abundance without having to give up any parts of yourself?
Well, I think in some ways I did give up a little part of myself in certain things at certain times. Like, for instance, when my dance company really blossomed, it took off like wildfire. And I had no idea that that was going to happen. I just wanted to dance. And I started teaching, I started choreographing, I started performing. I had dance troops, and then I had 3 dance troops, and then I had a music company, and then I had a dance company, and then I was traveling around the world, traveling and dancing and teaching and performing. And there wasn't time for a lot of the other things. So there was a focus, and I went with the flow. I went with what my spirit was saying.
Yeah, do you find that somehow it's more about the qualities that we want to express when we are multi-passionate versus necessarily activities? Because I think a lot of times women mistake that for like, okay, here I do this or I do that or I do this third, fourth, fifth thing, when actually if you step back into the type of qualities you want to have, you can kind of shuffle what you do as long as you are free to be the qualities that you want to be.
Right. And if you get too spread too thin, and there's definitely been times when I've done that. There's been times when I've learned some lessons, to put your heart and soul into this thing, and make it quality. But you still need to take time for that self-care. I mean, I write about this all the time. I talk about this all the time where, there was a time when I was 24/7. I was work, 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 and I was doing this thing and this thing and this thing. That's not good. You still
How did
need
you know
time.
to shift out of that? Like, what was the thing that pointed to you that that's not good?
I had to run away. I had to, like, okay, I have to stop now. You know, this is too much. I can't breathe. I love what I've created and I love what I'm doing, but I got to go, which is a good thing to do, but not because of the thing. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
It's, yes, I had to take a step away, but it was because I was burned out. So what I love to do now is help women understand their passions and make sure that they carve out time for themselves. so they can do the creation, they can do the passion without going into the burnout, without going into the exhaustion.
So, how is it that you are able to help them understand what's possible for them? Because I think a lot of times women kind of shrink their possibility to maybe more like practical things that they think are possible. But one aspect of your work is expanding the possibility, right? And at the same time, letting go of like judgments and limitations. So, can you speak more to that?
I mean, it's really all about taking time for yourself. It's all about listening in to what you desire, what you need, what your body needs. And, I talk about the whole being, body, mind, spirit. It's not just about everything in your head. It's not about everything in your body. They all have to coalesce, and I'm very spiritual. So there's definitely a spiritual component to listening in deep and listening to what it is you are truly trying to express and also what you're truly needing.
Mm-hmm. So somebody who is an entrepreneur, and let's say she's a coach, and she thinks that what's possible for her is to have certain number of clients or do certain level of work, something like that. And we know that their possibilities are like expensive, right? So she can probably step into a next level of herself that would encompass so much more that she currently is imagining now. But perhaps she's bumping into past failures, something that she perceived that didn't work, and maybe kind of trying to protect herself from, feeling bad by not achieving the goal. So then she sets very low sort of
Right.
expectations. So
So,
how would you help her rewrite a story of herself?
so rewriting is the big word there. So she's
Mm-hmm.
self-sabotaging herself with her past stories.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's about stepping into rewriting, which is huge for me because I am a writer and I use a lot of journaling and writing with my clients. I teach writing. I've written 4 books. I teach a journaling class. I've taught for years. Uh, Thoughts become words, become things. Thoughts become words, become things. So the things that are in your head, you need to release. And I always say from the body to the page so that you're all encompassed, right? Whatever's in the body, you need to release. Release what's in your head and clarify what it is you're truly wanting now. And the thing is that so many women are afraid to change, especially as we get older. We have dreams from when we were in our 20s. We have dreams for when we were in our 30s. And we forget that maybe now, as we're 40, 50, or 60, that those are changed. They're different. And it's good, right? It's good. It's beautiful. Change is beautiful.
Do you find like a lot of these dreams may be almost outdated?
Yeah,
Like they might be chasing like their 32-year-old self
absolutely.
idea or something, and they
Absolutely.
now
That's what
52,
I'm talking
let's
about.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we forget. We're like, oh, well, maybe I don't really want that thing anymore. I mean, like when I was in my 20s, I wanted to be a rock star. I mean, come on. I was a musician. I played in bands. I toured. And I don't want that now. I still play music. I still love to play music with people, but I don't want to be a rock star. Um, so, but sometimes we forget to change those things that are back in our brain. And I mean, that's kind of a crazy idea right there. But to allow ourselves to listen in deep, to allow ourselves to be with ourselves. And a lot of women don't know how to reconnect. They've gotten so busy in their life. They've had kids, marriages, work, la, la, la. And they're just like, go, 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 go. In fact, I was writing about this today. They want to be Wonder Women. They have this invisible workload, which is like doing all the things, people pleasing, all the things. And they put themselves on the back burner.
Happening quite often, I think, with so many women. They forget to put themselves first. They forget to think of themselves. Or if they do think of themselves, what they focus on is the stuff that did not work. And then it translates into, like, let's say, social media presence. They think they need to have these glamorous pictures of themselves on Instagram or something like that, that, let's say, they see coaches who are 25 are doing, and they thinking, well, I need to match up, but now, like, I'm 45 or 55 or 65 and I can't do that. And that's where there's so much insecurity that comes in that, to me, doesn't seem like it's even real. It's almost like a
Right.
self-created issue.
Yeah. So instead of growing older with grace and with passion and change, they're still stuck on that. Oh, I should be like this. I should look like this 20-something-year-old or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of embracing, I mean, I love getting older. I don't have any issues with it. I don't care about my gray hair. I don't care about my wrinkles. I don't care about, I mean, I want to stay fit and, feel really good in my body. We need to embrace ourselves as older women, as, there's the maiden, there's the mother, there's the crone. And I'm a crone. I'm
Mm-hmm.
66. I love it. I love it. And I am a wise woman, and I have a lot to share. And I have a lot of life experience to share because I have lived life. And so I want women to embrace their possibilities to live their lives in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s,
Yeah.
and experience what life has to offer them.
Well, that's so true. And I mean, so often I think women almost like forget that there is a place in society for them. And
Mhm.
that place is actually self-made. It's not like given to you, especially current society doesn't necessarily know what to do with a woman after a certain age. But if we
Yeah.
look at it from like, but if you are a coach, if you're a mentor, if you're a owner of a company or a CEO, you actually have a very unique role as somebody who has lived life, has all the wisdom, and now you have a place to hold that space in a very different way instead of trying to match what you see somebody on TikTok is doing when they're dancing and pointing.
That's so true. Oh my God. So
Which
true.
I find like so ridiculous when somebody's trying to sell a $15,000 program and they're doing dancing on TikTok. It's like, who do you think this is going to attract? Like, why are you wasting your time on that? But that's because they were told, well, this is the new thing, the latest tactic. Like one of my pieces of my methodology is timeless. Like you got to work with human psychology and energetics so that it works now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now, not the latest tactic, because that's just going to mess you up. So in what you do, how do like what role self-worth and personal uniqueness plays in them being able to have this movement and momentum and magic?
If you think about movement, momentum, and magic, movement is, again, about moving not just the body, but it's about moving the energy, right? It's about moving the mind and the emotions and to embody all that is. And movement creates momentum. In so many cases, what I see is you're desiring to make a change, but taking that first step is the hardest thing. It's like jumping off a cliff. It's like that first step is so hard. But movement creates momentum. So if you can take that first step, if you can detail and clarify your desires and your dreams and your change, whatever it is you want to change, and you can take that first step, celebrate yourself, acknowledge yourself, because only you can truly acknowledge yourself. You don't need it from the outside world. It's nice to have, but that's not where it comes from, right? Creates momentum, creates more energy, whether it's, psychic energy, physical energy, emotional energy, creates magic because we all want to live with everyday magic. I want to be in awe of this life. I want to create beauty and everyday magic. I want to live lit up. And that's all of our inherent rights to do that, to be that way, to live with beauty and passion, and to be on fire with ourselves.
Yeah. And so often women forget that. They over focus on strategy and details. And it is important, obviously, if you're running a business, like you got to pay attention to some of these things. But that magic part where you're free, you're joyous, you're living full on, and you're like got wings to fly with. that's like, you're all about that. And that energy, I think, is so missing because many women associate that with like, that's risky. Like that's like, it's scary, it's risky. So can you speak to that? Because like, I love that. Like to me, risk is like the way of living life. But I think to a lot of women, that's the risky part scares them.
Well, it is fearful to create change,
Hmm.
especially as we get older. Are we going to rock the boat? Is someone going to be upset with us? You know, who's going to be affected by it besides us? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You know, you were here for you. And to face that fear, again, it's taking that first step. It truly is. I can remember, you know, when I was in high school, which, well, okay, it was like a million years ago, I went rappelling. So I went off the cliff backwards. And it's like, I'm on the edge of the cliff. I'm all hooked in, you know, I got my cords and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to step off this cliff.
The reality hits.
Like, holy shit. But once you get off the cliff, and then it's like, oh, I'm bouncing off the hill or the mountain or the rock or whatever it was. But that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like taking that first step, which has fear and you need courage. But if you have a clear vision of what it is you want and why. So that's my big question always is why? Why do you want that thing? Because if you don't know why, if you just think you want $1 million, or you think you want that house over there, or you think you want a new car, but you don't know why, it won't manifest.
Do you find that for a lot of women, the why is linked to the negative part? Like, I want to prove my father that I can do it, or I want to get free from, like, after divorce or something like that. Like, it's sort of like they're running away from something or proving something or earning something versus the true why that is much deeper and soul based.
Right. Well, that's an interesting question because I'm always on the positive spectrum. So it's more like what is it gonna do for you? How is it gonna make you feel if you do this thing? It's not a revengeful thing or I have to prove something. It's more like, God, this is gonna change my world. This is gonna make my body feel good. This is gonna make me feel good. This is gonna make me earn some more money, whatever it is. So I guess I just don't really go to that negative aspect of it. We just step into what the possibilities are.
Yeah, so you guys, as you're listening to us talk and Paulette is describing this thing, look for what is the why behind what you do and notice if you went kind of more in a negative, which, as I said, I find a lot of times that's like the first thing that people do. But then shift it into what experience do I want to have? Like, what's the why? Like, because I want to feel certain way, just like Paulette was just describing. So how does that connect them to living a life that is sacred, that is aligned, that is alive?
Well, if you think about that why question and you keep asking, in fact, in my book, in my book, there's a exercise on going deeper. Why do you want that? Oh, because I want this. Well, why do you want this? Okay, because I want this. Well, why do you want that? And it's like, you got to dig in. You got to step into the muck. You got to really figure out what it is that you want and truly why you want it. And that's going to make so much sense to you. And it's not easy sometimes, especially if you're not used to doing that kind of inner reflection. I'm a big proponent of journaling and using prompts and digging in.
Yeah, and connecting that to the body as well. Like as a dancer, for you, I'm sure that the embodiment of this why is deeply related to moving the physical body as well, right? So it's not just mental process.
Right, right. I mean, it's all encompassed. And when you start to ask for something, just say like, I would like a new job. It's like, well, why? Well, because I don't like the job I have. Well, why? Because it doesn't bring me fulfillment. Well, why? Because I don't like the people. I mean, you could go deeper, right? I don't like the
Mhm.
people I work with, blah, blah, blah. So why do you want this new job? Because I want a new experience. And I want to feel that in my body. What would that feel like to have more joy? My body would get up in the morning and I'd be more excited to move. Where would you feel that in your body? You might feel it in your womb, you might feel it in your heart, you might feel it in your throat. And acknowledging where all that energy is or where it might be stuck. And that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
We won't go there. But um, I just love that whole connection, to be connected.
So what would you say to someone who feels like they kind of lost that passionate drive? Like they mentally still want a lot of things that they wanted and they are physically doing the steps towards it, like they're following some strategy, but it feels like the juiciness is like
Mm.
missing. What would you say to them to wake up their juicy,
Wow.
yummy,
Oh,
powerful flow?
oh my gosh. You better start working with me. But I see this a lot. And I mean, I've even been in that place myself, that place of burnout. And where is my passion? Where is my creativity? I feel dry. I feel like, where did my juice go? And
Mhm.
we women are juicy women, right? We should have a lot of that. That lusciousness, that sexiness, that sensualness, that creative passion, whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, there's definitely steps to get to that place, and journaling is huge. So, and I also have a daily practice where we get up every morning and we meditate and we take a time for journaling, which is kind of a brain dump, and that's a whole nother story. But if you've never read Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, have you read that?
Mhm. Yeah. I've
Uh,
done it for 2 years, actually. That cleaned up a lot of blocks.
it's so good, right? I mean, I've been doing it for a million years and I still do it. And I have like 8,000 journals. But you write 3 pages every day, every morning, and just release the stuff that's stuck or whatever you're thinking about, whether it's like, I don't know what to write today, or I'm going to do this to-do list, or then you start writing a poem, or then you just like, la, 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 la. But it's really important to release that stuff from your body to the page. So you do some time meditation, then you do some time journaling, and then you take a dance break or movement. Move your body, move your energy so you can really reconnect with yourself, because we let others get in our way. We let daily things get in our way. We let the invisible workload get in our way. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's your kids. I got to do this, this, and this. So you put yourself on the back burner, which is what we talked about a long time ago. But if you spend time practicing something for yourself every day to reconnect with yourself, then you start to understand more of what it is you are truly desiring.
Yeah, so true. Well, this is the Conscious Coaches on a Mission podcast. So, what is your mission, Paulette?
Oh my God. Well, you've heard all my mission. My mission is to empower women to step into their beauty, to step into their passion, to step in their creativity. I've worked with women all over the world for so many years, and to see them step into themselves is like the most gorgeous thing, because really we all are one big circle and everybody is part of this circle. And you can narrow it down. You can say, oh, it's just the women's circle that we want to be in, or it's just our community circle that we want to be in. But everybody is necessary. Everybody has a part in that circle. And that's the thing, is like, some women think they don't have a place in society, or they don't have a thing in their community. They don't have a place, or nobody wants to hear what they have to say, or nobody wants to see their paintings, or whatever it is. And yes, they do. And yes, it's important. And yes, you need to show up right now, especially as this world has changed, as these times have changed. You need to show up. You need to participate in not only your own well-being, but in your circle, in your world. You need to stand up. You need to speak up. I think this is so important for women these days. We need you. We want you. We want to hear you. You are important. You are worthy. You are supposed to be here and you're supposed to take up space. You know? And like I said, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it's still, you're important.
Yeah, that is such a good message. And I think a lot of times women need to remember the wisdom that they accumulated, not just in this lifetime, but from other lifetimes, like whatever they brought in as their soul wisdom, all of that gets anchored in them. And the more they express who they are, the more they're bringing that wisdom to actually positively influence human collective consciousness.
So good.
Yeah. So now you have a free gift for our audience. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? What's the name of the book?
From Soulless Job to Creative Abundance, Finding Fulfillment and Prosperity with Your Art. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a painter or an artist per se, but it's finding fulfillment in your life with what you are bringing to the world. And stepping away from something that doesn't feel good to step more into your soulful life. This is my 4th book, and I'd love to gift you all a downloadable PDF of this book. It's got some of the things that we've just talked about. There's some beautiful exercises in there, some ways for reconnection and connection, and to step into your daily practice, to know your why. And there's journaling prompts, and it's a beautiful reminder of who you are and helping you to be all that you can be, to be a possibilitarian.
Oh, how awesome. Well, thank you very much, Paulette. And the link to the book is in the description, and all the other links, so you can check out Paulette's work on her website and the type of coaching she does, and her dance business, and like everything else is in there, so you can check it out. So thank you so much, Paulette, for being here and sharing your wisdom.
Oh, it's so good to see you again. Thank you for having me. So I appreciate this conversation, which is always so juicy.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.